speaker here, Jaime, has over a decade of experience building Android apps and has worked on 3 continents, apparently, and loves a good piece of fried chicken. Okay. I don't know if we've got fried chicken for lunch, though. But anyway, he's here to save us from the pain of super-duper large pull requests and share simple tricks, simple tricks for breaking down daunting workloads. Please give a warm welcome to Jaime.
Is this mic working? Is the mic working? All good? Yeah. Cool. How are we doing, Devfest? You're not supposed to be enthusiastic, because then I can say, this isn't sprint planning. Let's see some enthusiasm. How are we doing? So, thank you for coming to my talk today. It is great to see you all. Okay, so, that's not changing. One moment, please. Hey. Okay, so my name's Jaime Boden. Just been introduced, so I'm just going to have to say it very quickly. Decade plus in software development, mostly in mobile and Android, hence being here today. And I'm just going to quickly just mention what this talk is about. These are ideas. This is conceptual. This is a way that we break down work, and who wants a large PR? No one. I think we can agree on that. I'm going to run you by a fictional scenario. Again, conceptual approaches you can take, and again, completely open to interpretation. What this talk isn't about, technical things, there's enough of those today. You don't need me doing that. There's enough amazing talks that we've had and we'll have this afternoon. I'm not going to tell you how to write tickets. I barely can use Jira myself, and I'm not going to tell you anything about that. And finally, I'm not here to solve every problem. Yeah, we'll just see how we do. Okay, so what's the problem? We all work in a team, and you can have features that you have been assigned that are high velocity, as we say. If you want to build an entire feature, it can be like, whoa, we got this massive thing. How, the goal is out of sight. Wow, how are we going to do all this stuff? And also the classic year's work, and then someone decided, oh, we'll give it to you in 3 months. And you're like, oh, okay. Has anyone been there before? Tight deadlines? Hands up. Anyone? Anyone that didn't? I think you're lying. Large pull requests can be time consuming, and here's a few examples that I have seen during my time. And yeah, we all know what those are like when you get assigned one of those. What a pain. And then sometimes the author can be kind and put a, I'm sorry. And I commend you for doing that, mystery author. Okay, so I've got another question. Who has heard or said this before? I'm blocked until this other thing is merged. Hands up. If you haven't, then respect. Because, I've said it. I've said it a lot in my time, and yeah, it's just, yeah, why? Okay, so let's just talk about considerations for the breakdown. Depends on what is the piece of work. Is it a new feature? Brand new piece to the app that hasn't existed before? Are you doing a tech rewrite? Is the new libraries come along? Maybe it's something better, or your current implementation is not fit for purpose anymore. Same with a tech migration. There can be something out there that does it better, less code, maybe more efficient. Or can it be a one-liner, single string change? I'm not going to tell you how to break that down because I don't think you can. But yes, that is, everything should be considered. Do you do the whole thing in one, or do you do multiple tasks? the thing that I've found with PRs is drawing the line. And I think we all do this. We're all engineers. And it's like, oh, I'm building this thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, great. And then it's like, oh, I can just add this little bit. Oh, I can sneak this bit through as well. And oh, I can, do a bit more. And then next thing you know, you've built the entire feature. And it's like, this is a massive PR. So it's finding that balance of, right, I'm going to cut it here. That is a good piece to do. And then we can work on the other one afterwards. So just a couple of quotes that I like to run by. Every pull request should be clear of what it wants to achieve. If you're writing some stuff and you have an empty description, or it's really not clear what's going on, so that could be bunch of functions that aren't related at all over the place, or it's not clear, then it's going to be hard for your reviewers, and you might get friction in getting it approved, etc. And finally, less is more. I know it's cliche, but like breaking it down, like it's okay to have more pull requests in the same area or separate areas. Like, no, if anyone says, oh, why have you done 5 PRs? It's like, well, if you've made them clear and concise, that's okay. You're going to get better, I'd like to think you get better reviews and less friction. Okay, let's do an example. An app that shows me the best fried chicken places. Here are the requirements. Pretty straightforward, scrollable. Each item, you want to click it and it goes to a detail screen. The data is retrieved from a web service, and offline, let's store it locally so we have a copy of it when the data syncs. Okay, so what would you have? You would have a data layer that has some database, some API integration, and obviously a repository that takes care of that stuff and makes decisions according to it. You have a domain layer, classes, use cases, business logic, that kind of stuff. And finally, the UI. You would, hopefully everyone's using Compose / Swift UI, depending on your choice. And yeah, build a little screen, and obviously a nice icon, because everyone loves a good icon. So how would you break this down? Well, version 1, you don't, just build the whole thing. Add all your libraries, add all your domain layer, write the whole screen, do all that stuff. You could submit that as a PR. It'll work. There'd be a lot to look at, particularly if you're starting a brand new project. There's all the, project setup and all that stuff, but it would be a very large PR. Version 2, you can break down the architectural layers. You could do the repository that sits there. You can do the database, add room, whatever you're using, API, gRPC, REST, whatever your use case is. You can do that separately. You can do the use cases separately. And then finally, you could build all the UI as a separate thing. And that conceptually would work. And then loads of words, because, yeah, I've broken it down even further. So version 3, if you wanted to, you could still have the repository that has the dependencies. Got the database, so you could do the tables, queries, indexing. They could all, you don't necessarily want to do that. You could. Same with the API. You could send some fake data just to get something going, and then you can connect the real data later. Then you can do the mapping and the domain, and then the use cases, they can be separate. And then same with the user interface, you can build the list, I almost said list view then. I just did say list view. Lazy column. See, I know compose things. You could do the list, colors, themes, and then the details could be its own. So, okay, so just going to compare all those. build the entire app is a very high amount of effort. It might not be in a simple use case, but if you can imagine a very complex app, then yeah, you could do that, and the PR would be massive, and reviews it'd take a while. It's like a buffet. You go there and you got to eat everything. You got to do it all at once. Pro tip on a buffet: don't eat the bread. But you could do it like this if you wanted to. I'm going to put version 2 on this side because this is one we're actually going to take seriously. All those tasks, again, completely open to interpretation depending on your use case and how good you are with this stuff, etc. But I'm not going to go through these again, but basically there's still a significant amount of effort for each of these areas. But they're not very high because they're all individual tasks. Version 3 looks something like this. Sorry, I've run out of space on the slides. I tried my best. But we can see things like, we could map all the tables in the database, and store the data. And then if we want to write a couple of queries, like select based on a certain ID, it's just one query, or you could do select star, for example, and then you can test it from there. There's things in the UI, so scrollable list, map your data, make sure that each list item's, correct, looking at, snapshots and that kind of stuff. Obviously, colors and themes, if you do it right, you apply that to the entire project, should be straightforward. And then building an entire screen, detail screen, new screen, make sure all the stuff looks good. And again, with things like the API integration, hard code some data, should be hopefully fairly straightforward. And then with real data, you've got more testing involved with errors, success, and that kind of stuff. And then finally, the use cases, data models, connecting together. Okay. So let's assume that all that stuff has been broken down and worked into. Let's do a scenario, do a different scenario. So new requirements, updated style. Designs are somewhere in Figma maybe, request access and that good stuff. Setting screen that has an about section, and then the about section has some text on it. Again, design's not important for this. So how would that look? Got a PR on the left that says, hey, I've updated the style using the latest designs, and there's a nice screenshot there. And then the PR on the right, which is the settings screen and an about section. Completely isolated from each other, they're independent. They can both be reviewed, they can both be tested, they can both be merged. So sounds good, right? Well, there's a problem. Again, completely conceptual, but the first PR has added the menu item, but the second PR has the settings screen, and in the second PR, there's no way to get to it when you're doing like the happy path because it was added in the first one. So there's a dependency here that second one needs the first one. So how are we going to fix this? There's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to run through a few, not all of them. Some may be better than others, but I'll leave that to you lovely folks to decide. Okay, so branching. I'm going to assume that people know about creating branches to generate the pull requests, and I'm also going to, for the purpose of this, assume that the project is trunk-based, so everything merges into master. But this will also work if you use Git flow, for example, where you would have a release branch. Like, it's the same concept, but for this, just keep it simple, we're going to use master. or main. So first example, the first branch is created and merged, and then great, that menu button exists now. Branch 2 can update with master main, and then do the feature. Great, happy days. Second one. So a little bit more complex, but settings could, in theory, branch off the first one. So the merge changes in and the button's available. So what would you do there? Essentially, the first branch is the same as before. And then the second branch has the extra code and the button's there and it gets merged and that's it. Third option, a little more spicy, I think, is branch 2 could actually just copy and paste the code. And there may be thoughts on this. I'll leave that to you guys, but you could do this. So branch 2 could essentially have the same code. And again, the button's available, build the screen, and it works. Finally, the fourth one is stick the branches together and merge it as one big thing. So we've got, it doesn't matter for the purpose of this, but the left is saying merge all of branch 2 into branch 1, send it, or the other way around, which is merge all of 1 into 2, merge it. They would achieve the same thing, but again, you could do either of those. So bit of audience participation. Who likes the first one? So don't do the second PR until the first one's merged. Does anyone think that's a good approach? Okay, not popular. Okay, how about the second one? You can branch off the existing one. And more hands. This is good. This is good. Third one, copy some code from another branch. Okay. Finally, stick them together, send through a bigger PR. Who likes that one? So the result is actually, you could make a case for any of them. They would all work. They would have different complexities. They would also, the result would be in a different time. Like some will be faster than others, depending on your team, depending on your use case, etc. Okay, so let's summarize this. Let's say we've broken everything down, sensible tasks in Jira maybe, or wherever your chosen area to do work in is. How would you track this? And I'm not going to sit here and name a bunch of approaches. I'm just going to give you one that you could do. Make a Gantt chart. It's up to you. I generated this, so yes, the bars are not what you would expect. Could you do this? You could. I don't know. Your project managers will love you though. Okay. So just going to do some final thoughts. When you're submitting a PR, think of who's reviewing it. Is it a member of your team? Is it an engineer on your team? Is it an engineer in another team? Is it quality assurance, quality coach, tester? Could be a product owner. I haven't seen that to this date, but I'm sure product owners that are technical are a thing, and they could be someone looking at it. Could it be a CEO? Probably more so with a startup than a large corporation, but I don't know. And then someone else, don't know. And it's really important because know your audience, and your work's going to get approved a lot easier if you know that your audience can be on board and engage. Please provide as much context as possible. I think this is a really important one for the reviewer, but also for a history standpoint. If you have a pull request that gets merged, and let's say you have to go back to it in 6 months, are you going to remember what you did? I won't. I don't remember last week's pull request. Certainly not going to remember 6 months from now. Documentation, fairly self-explanatory, as it's a pain to do, but we write docs for a reason. People will read them, apparently. Finally, easy change, approve, fast, ship fast. Summarizing the points there. Okay. Finally, so if you'd like to look at these notes in more of a nice way, I actually vibe coded the website for you all today. And AI told me that you can use the URL of the following. And thanks very much.
You taking questions?
I'll take questions.
All right, questions. See one hand here.
Awesome talk, thank you. How do you feel that the size of PRs correlates to the quality of your reviews?
So if I've got a really large one, maybe I'll take a drink of water first, maybe have some lunch. I think it's really hard to, if you've got a large PR to, concentration and stuff, and, with context switching and other meetings and things like that, it can certainly impact it. I've personally actually commented on PRs before and gone, please break this down. Here's a way you can do it. Or let's discuss. I think that should be good practice, and I think everyone can practice that. But at the same time, maybe there's a tight deadline and it just needs to, you need to just get it done and get it done. But yeah, I think, if PRs get raised and you get assigned one and, have a word with the author and, oh, you've done this area here, you've done this thing here. It's like, maybe you can do your best to break it down. So yeah, I think obviously depending on use case, but yeah, have a drink of water before a big one.
Hi, I was gonna ask if you have any advice for this typical coworker, irresponsible one that do not get to review your PR on time. If you have any piece of advice to tell them to review it.
So the question is how to get people to review them on time. Bribe them? No, I think it's about a good team balance. Again, Luke covered this one in the talk previously. It's about doing the right thing. At the end of the day, a feature is only as good as, the author and the team behind it. Like one single engineer still needs approvers. And I think that a good way to do that is just talk to them and go, hey, you got some time? Do you want to pair up perhaps? Maybe go for it together, maybe put a meeting with some other members in the team. Yeah, but again, if it's broken down, you shouldn't need to nag them because they'll just go, great.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Regarding the multiple pull requests,
Yes.
don't they get tested before they get approved, merged?
Depends where you work. So absolutely, you can break them down and provide test plan. I try to just keep it as simple as possible, just the concepts. But yes, there is more to it. Obviously, how do you know the change is actually going to work, right? So again, if you're breaking them down into sizable pieces, there should be very easy to test, right? If you're, send the PR as the entire app, you've got a lot to test, right? But if you have, here's a database query, well, great, you can, have database testing for that. And you can, obviously, if it's fed down, you can test a piece of functionality that uses that query and that kind of stuff. So again, I think it's, clear and concise makes testing easier, right?
Any other questions? Yeah, got one more.
Like some water.
Hello. My question is, so I have a friend who was a senior in her group and she has to do like code reviews and she never had any experience before. So do you have any advice on how someone could do code review? So if that's not relevant.
No, I take questions. So the question is, how do you do a code review? Yeah. Review the code. So I think this is where, other members of the team can come in more experienced and just like, it obviously depends on the feature and stuff, but obviously we have coding standards to follow. Obviously things like linting will help that as well. But like, if you see like some code that says 1 divided by 0, what are you going to do, right? Is request changes. Unless that's what it's intended to do. But yeah, let's be honest. Yeah. So I think that just comes with experience, as we all learn to program at whatever age we were, like we learn how to write things and how to not write things. And, again, it's just experience, I think. But yeah, as I say, they'll find it a lot easier if the PRs are small.
The other really good one for that, just read, there's a library of all of the previous code reviews.
100%. Yeah, draw on past work. Yeah.
Maybe one last question. Anyone? Okay.
What time is lunch? No, go.
Speaking of lunch, what's your favorite chicken joint?
I was waiting for that question.
My favorite chicken joint, is this in the world? Australia? Melbourne? Australia? Well, I can't say Jollibee then. Everyone that knows me knows what I'm going to say. I'm going to say KFC. I know. I'm not going to, but yes.
All right, well, thank you for that. And here's a little gift for you.